podcast. I am your host and founder of Appelman Properties, Josh Appelman. We are here with real estate investor Jared Alexander. Jared is the founder of Optimal Equity Group. He educates investors in real estate. He believes in its potential and aims for equity opportunities. As an LP in 6 syndications and co-GP for 128 unit in Dallas, Texas, he empowers in real estate. Jared, we're excited to have you on the show here today. If you could just let the listeners know a little bit more about yourself.
All right. Thanks for having me, Josh. It's pleasure to be here, man. And I guess a little backstory of how I got into real estate. So going back, I'm originally from North Carolina, and my grandfather and my mom owned real estate. My mom owned some single family, and my grandpa, so he actually started a flooring company but bought the building he started that company in, and fast forward, ended up adding 2 more buildings on that property. And I saw him move out to Arizona and retire at the age of 50, and he's been living off the passive income from that property ever since.
Nice.
So at the time, I was young, really didn't, hit me, but, the past few years, I've really noticed what he's done. And and honestly, that's the track I'm trying to follow right now myself. And so, I moved out here to Arizona about 9 years ago, and I, read that purple book. We always hear about that, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? And it just totally changed my perspective and, the outlook on what I wanted to do, because I got into the flooring business as well, and flooring sales now. But yeah, so anyways, I went to some local meetups, started, talking to people that were doing, what I was interested in doing. And like a lot of us, I think I started in single family, ended up buying a turnkey out of state in Kansas City, Missouri. And that was going good. I underwrote it. It was cash flowing. And then about 3 weeks after I owned the property, I got hit with that $4,000 sump pump bill.
Nice.
Which you expect to have the CapEx is what we call them, the big ticket repairs. But I mean, looking at that property, put some numbers to it, cash flowed about $200 a month, actually just under, but for easy math, 200. So that's $2,400, a year cash flow. And that essentially wiped my cash flow out for 2 years. Right. But even that, I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll do this, because my goal is to replace my W-2 income and live off, hit that financial freedom number. Right. So with doing that, I'm like, man, I got to do this 50 or 60 times. And I, doing the math, I'm like, wow, that's a lot. So anyways, make a long story short, I started getting introduced to multifamily shortly after that purchase there. And I ended up selling a single family about a little over a year later, of course, to get the capital gains tax rate. And started in apartment syndications. And I'll maybe pause there, Josh, if you want to add on.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then, but you started as an LP in others investments as a limited partner, and to learn the process, learn the ropes. And now it's 1,100 units as an LP. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. 6 syndications total.
How did you find out about these deals? Is it from a friend, from just knowledge, being in the industry? How did you come across these opportunities?
Yeah. So in this in the real estate market, it's just all about networking. And so I had a friend that was involved and a little bit further ahead than I was, and started off in the apartment syndications, introduced it to me. I got introduced to a partner here locally in Phoenix that, you always talk about that, like and trust, right? So, and this guy was, at first I just kind of heard about him. So he came from a good referral source, and then I did my due diligence, got on the phone, and, just started asking him the questions of, I think it's really important when vetting an operator is asking the hard questions first. Have you ever had a deal go south? What's the worst case scenario? Because when you're talking $25,000, $50,000 investments, that's some hard-earned money that I've, saved up, and I want to make sure it's going to be safe. Of course, investment's a risk, but I want to make sure to mitigate that as much as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had those conversations and ended up pulling the trigger. And I think this may be important for your listeners too, is just to put actual numbers to this compared to that single family home. As my first investment, I actually did that from an IRA, and it was a $25,000 investment into the deal. And I probably put about 20 to 25,000 on that single family home. And my cash flow, I mean, give or take $30, $40 was pretty similar to what I was getting on that single family home. And I'm completely hands off, right? I don't have to manage the property manager, even though it's turnkey, it's supposed to be pretty passive. I mean, I got a call from the property manager on that single family in the middle of the night one time asking me what to do about a situation. So, I was still involved in that. And so, yeah, being passive, for one, gave me that opportunity to focus on what I want to do best, which, I still want to be more active. And it gave me a peek behind the curtains too of what these operators are doing. Cause I was thinking like you, Josh, wanted to be an active syndicator, go out, do the property management, broker relations, construction, all that. But it really opened my eyes to how much work these guys are putting in, like you, right? I mean, 50, 60 hours. I'm asking questions 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I'm getting responses from them, right?
Yeah.
And so these guys are working their butt offs. And, I come from a sales background. So, after I experienced, the peek behind the curtains on these limited partner deals, I decided I did want to go more active, which, I started my company, Optimal Equity Group, but I decided to focus on what we call that superpower, right? I'm going to focus my energy on partnering with the experienced operators like you and, raising capital for them and just bringing equity and helping investors, invest in these opportunities that are just, you don't hear about every day. So.
The cool thing about you though, you find and vet the operators, and you're another layer of protection in front of an investor going out there and trying to find these deals themselves, because you've got that experience of investing passively and now actively, and you know what to look for. So you're another definitive layer of protection, which is cool. And you come across deals just through your network that aren't out there in the public's eye at all. They're pocket deals, and they're only offered to people that are within a relationship.
Absolutely. Well, and to that point, I get I get on a lot of email lists, and so I get to cherry pick the deals that I even want to take a look at.
Yeah.
And then, I really focus on the, of course, the hot markets, job growth, population growth, things like that, and make sure the operators have experience and have a track record, because again, I want to make sure I would invest my hard-earned money into something before I'm going to bring it to my investors as well.
Yeah, for sure. And even get a sampling of communication that's being sent out and what financials look like and all that good stuff. That's very cool.
Exactly. And communication, that's one of the biggest parts there too. I mean, that's huge for me.
Oh, it is. I mean, if you can effectively communicate with your partners and investors, it's that's building trust through performance. And that's a key element. It keeps the wondering from wondering, because now you already, through video, through communication, you know how things are going. That's great. So how long have you been concentrating on capital raising to invest?
So a little under a year now. I started my company, and so just been focusing on it. I think I started it late last year. October, November. Yeah.
So what's the motivation? What's the driving force behind the scenes?
As far as becoming more active, you mean?
Just in general, wanting to be more active, get more units, bring investors on to the journey. What's the motivation?
Well, so the biggest motivation, why I even started out in real estate to begin with, is again just to buy back my time, right? To create time freedom. So that's what got me into this space. But after learning about this, apartment syndications and being a passive investor in 6 deals, I wanted to bring this opportunity to others that I mean, you just don't walk out of your front door and say, "Hey, Bob, did you hear about that apartment syndication that, hit the email list yesterday?" Like nobody, I didn't even know what an apartment syndication was until a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think it's a great way to really grow your net worth, and really help just educate people on how they can generate wealth and have early retirement plans. And this too, Josh. I mean, being a sales professional, I probably, they call it the avatar, right? I stick to my avatar. Essentially, of course, I help anybody out that wants to be involved in this space, but want to help, sales professionals like me, just that are, making some money at their W-2, just put it in a safe place, for a mitigated risk investment that's going to really generate some good cash flow and build some, growth income over the years. So,
Well, and you still get the benefits of the appreciation, the debt pay down, you have cash flow plus depreciation. You have a write-off that will offset your W-2 potentially. There's in the wealth building. So your personal financial statement now has a line item and Schedule E of your real estate holdings. Yep. And that actually enables you to be able to purchase more real estate. It compounds, so it's huge. So what you're in a general partnership on a 128 unit. How did that deal come about, and how was that deal formed?
Yeah, so networking, right? Again, my friend that introduced me to real estate, we've actually now become partners, and so we partnered actually. Three of us partnered together, and so we're with this operator out of that buys deals out of Dallas and Houston. And so we raised, partnered with them, raised capital, and we're part of the co-GP on that deal. Nice. And again, we get to cherry pick, but we're still active in that deal. But we're still investing in the experts that are, have the relationships. They're really, one thing I like about the operator we're involved in is their property management is vertically integrated. Yeah. So it's all in-house. They manage everything, which, property management can really make or break a deal. Yes. Right. So that makes me feel comfortable and makes me feel comfortable bringing that to my investors as well. So so that's how we got involved in that, and we're definitely looking at doing more deals with this particular operator.
The cool thing with having, and I say cool, it's bigger than just cool, is that when an operator is doing property management, they're not relying on the management piece to stand up their business at all. Yeah. So essentially, the project is not going to get feed to death on all these erroneous fees that property management typically needs to keep the lights on. So understand, they still have payroll, they still have bills, they still have mortgage on their office or a lease payment, so they have to fee properties in order to keep their business running to operate your business. So if you can eradicate that whole front piece, now your property becomes more efficient just by default, and being able to compress the expenses and get and be in control of what money is actually leaving your bucket of money. Essentially that's the name of the game. Money comes into your cup and you don't want it to fall to the bottom. Then you got to go find more money again. But you can preserve the property and the expenses just by having it taken over.
Absolutely. Well, and just on that point, I mean, these operators, they're really not making that much money on the property management side. I mean, it's almost more of a break even, maybe a little, gains there, but it's more so just like you said, so they have more control over the property, and the day-to-day operations. Exactly.
There's nothing more frustrating than being excited, buying a property, and then you get a distribution that is basically a drip. It's like, man, what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
And we've been there. We've put property management in front of us, third party, because we wanted to concentrate on acquisitions, and it comes a point in time where you just got to make a decision, and it's been a great decision. It's you deal with a lot of things that you don't necessarily want to deal with, but at the same time, you're in full control of the performance of the property. It's got to put the right people in front of you. Yeah, so it works out. What's the trajectory? How far are you wanting to go with real estate?
Well, so I think like a lot of us that are involved in real estate and decide to become more active, I'm almost like one of those weirdos. Like, I just love listening to podcasts. I love educating myself on this, and I just love this space and the people I meet. So I feel like there's a long trajectory being involved in real estate. I like to grow my business. That's where a lot of my time and energy is right now, is just vetting deals, becoming familiar with operators, seeing who I want to put in front of my investors, of course, growing that my investor base as well. And yeah, and just really, how many people can I help, elite, decrease their dependence on their W-2, by alternative, ways of diversifying their investments. And some of that starts out, okay, just sitting on a phone call. A lot of people don't even get the question, hey, do you want to be a cash flow investor, a growth investor? Let's, get together a plan, a goal. What are you looking for? And just helping them achieve that. So, yeah.
Touch back on the self-directed IRA, because I think that is a huge vehicle that people they have no idea that it's even available to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Because and it was huge for me. Right. Again, I heard of somebody doing, a buddy of mine invested in some of his deals through his self-directed IRA. And really how that process works is I partner with a third party company, a custodian, and really I just do, all the transactions through them. I pay them a small yearly fee, and I just collect distributions. I actually just got one the other day. I just get a little email notification, hey, this has been deposited in your account. And for me, again, it's just diversifying my dependence on the stock market too, right? We all know where the stock market is and the highs and lows of that. And I feel a lot more comfortable with my money being invested in tangible assets, brick and mortar, something I can see, touch, feel, have communications with the people that are running, the assets. And so, after I learned of, investing my money in, or with IRAs, that's huge. How many people have IRAs that they got, $50,000, $60,000 plus, sitting there, and they have no idea. If you ask them, Josh, what are you invested in with your IRA? I would say at least 75% of them have no idea, right? I know I didn't, so.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, and you get all of the benefits as if you're buying real estate yourself too, and you're using IRA money that's sitting there. Plus, you get the appreciation. You eliminate the volatility for the most part, and get to participate on all the upsides. It's a cash flow plus the upside if and when the property sells.
You still get your K1s. You're still getting, and some of these I got in when it was 100% bonus depreciation too. Yeah. So they did the cost the cost segregation and accelerated that in year one. And that's huge.
Yeah, so we just ordered a cost seg report on another property we have, and and that's huge in it of itself. Just having that extra rider of utilizing all of the depreciation on the assets. A lot of it gets missed if you don't do the study.
Yeah. There's so much money left on the table without that.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your personal life. What is the family, what do you like to enjoy, hobbies?
Yeah. So, I got married, actually about to celebrate my 5-year anniversary coming up here next weekend. So,
nice.
And got 2 kids. I got a 18-month-old little girl and a 4-year-old boy. So we're right in the thick of it too.
Oh yeah.
But again, so I enjoy spending time with them. We're about to get involved in sports. He's playing basketball, baseball, so we're about to start those activities there. So just spending time with the family. Little hobbies I do Spartan races. I'm pretty active there. So, I'll go out and crawl under barbed wire and do all that crazy stuff, run through mud and all that. So that's pretty cool as well. But yeah, just staying active, spending time with the family, and enjoying life, building my business. So.
I like that. I started doing CrossFit, I think maybe a year and a half now ago, but I wish I would have discovered it years ago. It's it definitely keeps you fit. That's for sure. Definitely. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and learn more about your group, about your company, and get a hold of you, how can they reach out?
Yeah, thanks for that. Biggest way to get a hold of me, or the quickest way, is just go to my website, www.optimalequitygroup.com. And on there you can sign up for a free cheat sheet to kind of just give you the one-on-one basics of apartment syndications. And yeah, on there you can schedule a call. I love talking about what I'm doing, learning about what other people are doing too. So you can schedule a call with me and we'd be happy to communicate.
Perfect. And then we'll put your contact information in when we rebroadcast the episode as well. And definitely appreciate your time. Love the journey. Look forward to watching your journey in the future too. And appreciate your time. We'll talk soon, Jared.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
All right.